Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So it's that moment that you've been waiting for, the entire Lord of the Rings spoiler season, which was a long and exciting spoiler season. It's time for the Golden Pig Awards. Now on this episode, I'm going to be talking about my favorite commanders from the Lord of the Rings set. Now, I will mention that is the actual set, not including the precons. There's like 85 commanders in the actual set and like nearly 40 in the precons too. So there are a ton of commanders to pick from and a lot of amazing ones. So again, on this episode, picking my favorite, my top 10. And again, yeah, that is the favorite, not necessarily the most powerful, which is going to be on a separate episode talking about the tiers. With all that said, let's jump into it. So let's start things off with number 10 with Frodos Bane, a 1/2 halfling citizen for a single white mana. That's right, very low to the ground, but very deadly. Pay Orzhov if Frodos Bane is a citizen. It becomes a halfling scout with base power numbers 2/3 and lifelink. Then by paying black if Frodo is a scout, it becomes a halfling rogue with, whenever this creature goes combinated to a player, that player loses the game if the ring has tempted you 4 more times. Otherwise, the ring tempts you. Now, the ring tempting you is a brand new mechanic from this set and a very exciting one, and one that you can utilize in a lot of exciting ways. That being said, yeah, the most powerful way that you can utilize this with this commander is simply by getting to the ring tempting you 4 times. Once that happens, Frodo is a one-shot KO. Absolutely gross, absolutely cool, and I really like this kind of build your own, death machine commander, I guess, where this commander, again, is like, hey, you just dump some mana into it, change it into a, halfling scout, then change it into a halfling rogue and take opponents out. Now, of course, outside of utilizing Frodo to actually have you tempt the ring, well, you can utilize a lot of other great effects to do so, too, to get to that quite quickly. And speaking of that, there's a little bit of a shortcut as well in getting to that last part in activation. So, yeah, let's break this down a little bit and talk about some cards that work well with this brand new exciting commander. First up, yeah, there's a lot of new ways to tempt the ring, or have the ring tempt you, I should say, with Inherited Envelope is just a simple example. Even this very simple mana rock costs 3 taps for a single mana of any color. Not a very efficient mana rock, but very efficient at having the ring tempt you. And in ETBs, the ring tempts you. And of course, there's a lot of other of these types of effects from this set and the precons as well. And also, there's some repeatable ones too, so you can get to that quite quickly. Next up, you're also going to want to consider some unblockable effects or some evasion as well. Key to the City is a great one. Tap, discard a card up to 1 target creature can be blocked this turn. On top of that, when it comes untapped, you can pay 2 if you do draw a card, so a looting effect as well. Regardless, getting your commander through again is key, especially when you have that Phage the Untouchable, one-shot KO effect going on. So yeah, get your commander through, whether it's for tempting or whether it's for taking out opponents. Next up now, I typically on these episodes only bring up cards within my own budget. I do want to break that rule right here though. $1.87 for Magical Nexus, not too far outside of my budget. Regardless, it's a really funny card with this commander. Creature you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that are on the battlefield. And you can make a shapeshifter, sure. What the important part is though, is that this makes Frodo into, well, all creature types, including Scout. Now what that means essentially is that you can skip that first activation for Frodo. You just have to pay black, because Frodo's already a scout, so you can turn it into a halfling rogue, which it already is a rogue, but you give it that ability to take opponents out. So there you go. And of course, yeah, there's other ways to do this. The less efficient way, but still more efficient than Frodo actually is with Mere Entity. Pay X until end of turn, creature control base power and toughness. XX, gain all creature types. Now, unless you have an Anthem in play, you can't put 0 into that, because then all your creatures would be 0/0s, including Frodo. If you don't have an Anthem in play, just pay a single mana into that, though. All your creatures are 1/1s. It doesn't matter how big Frodo is, again, when it hits. But again, Frodo is going to be a scout, so you can turn it into a rogue, even though it's already a rogue. You know what I mean? Regardless, at the end of the day, yeah, I think Frodos Bane is a very exciting, brand new commander. Again, low to the ground, has the potential to be incredibly deadly, and I really like that kind of, building design on this commander. We've seen other creatures in the past with this kind of, mana sink into it to actually make it into a bigger creature, into a bigger effect, but now we see this in the command zone as well. So yeah, Frodo, congratulations on your 10th place finish. Now let's move on to number 9 with the Watcher in the Water. And my goodness, this is an exciting commander. A 9/9 Kraken. I didn't plan for it to be a 9/9. That is our 9th place finish, but there you go. That costs 3 blue. Enters the battlefield tap with 9 stun counters on it. Whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, you get a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Whenever a tentacle you control dies, untap up to 1 target Kraken, put a stun counter up to 1 target non-land permanent. Now again, a reminder that a stun counter says if a permanent with a stun counter on it would become untapped, remove 1 from it instead. This is a really interesting commander and one that works in a very unique way. You have a lot of potential to make a lot of creatures, and your commander is massive, but your commander is probably not going to be untapped anytime soon, unless you've got like a Torpor Orb in play or something like that to stop that ETB. Regardless, your commander, although it is massive, sure, you could try to focus on getting your commander untapped a lot, and you are going to be able to untap your commander quite a bit with those, tentacle, dying, Kraken untapping effects. That being said, making a massive army of tentacles can definitely win you the game, and there's plenty of easy ways to generate absurd amount of creature tokens with this. Again, a lot of effects are going to draw you a lot of cards in blue. You have to make sure that you're doing that in your opponent's turn to get the most out of this commander. And of course, untapping Kraken, you can do some weird things with that too, but probably most players out there are going to be untapping this one. That being said, you definitely can go see a Monster Tribal with this as well. So yeah, you've got a lot of different options for a lot of exciting ways to take this commander, though the most common way is probably going to be, wheels. Yeah, like Tolarian Winds. Instant for 1 and a blue. Again, instant speed is key. Discard your hand, draw that many cards. So let's just say you've got 7 cards in your hand. You cast this, discard 6 cards, draw 6. Again, that is going to be 6 tentacles for just casting a 2-mana spell. And again, yeah, you might have other effects that benefit you from drawing cards or discarding, so keep that in mind as well. And of course, with your tentacles outside of wheels, there are some massive draw spells like Transcendent Message. Instant with Convoke, so you can tap your tentacles to actually cast this for a lot of mana. Draw X cards. So yeah, again, instant speed, draw a ton of cards. Essentially, what you're probably going to do with this one is most likely right before your turn on your opponent's end step, tap your entire army, including your commander. If it actually is untapped, then you can cast this for a ton of mana, dump all that into it, draw a ton of cards, make a giant tentacle army out of nowhere, and your opponents are going to be in big trouble. Speaking of big trouble, opposition. I think this card is brutally good with this commander. Enchant for 2 blue. Tap an untapped creature you control, tap target artifact, creature, or land. So again, there's a lot of ways you can take advantage of your massive army in play. This one is a very brutal way. At a certain point, you're going to have a big enough army to ensure that your opponents can never utilize basically any of their lands, or their creatures, or their artifacts, because you can just keep tapping them down. Essentially, they're going to go to an untap set, they're going to untap things, and your first chance that you get to tap all the things down, including the lands, you're going to be able to do it. So unless they've got instant speed interaction, they are shut out of the game. Yeah, this commander is a very interesting one. Again, the way that is just a giant body, but you can't really utilize it unless you're able to untap it a ton. You're able to distribute stun counters too, and yeah, proliferate effects. We didn't even get into that. Can be massive with this too. But again, hey, wheels, massive draw spells. What's not to love about that? So yeah, again, the Watcher in the Water, congratulations on your 9th place finish. Next up, coming in at 8th place, we've got Gandalf White Rider, a 3/3 avatar wizard with vigilance that costs 3 and a white. Whenever you cast a spell, creature you control get +1/+0 until end of turn, scry 1. And when Gandalf White Rider dies, you may put it on its owner's library, 5th from the top. Now that last part, in my opinion, is a bit risky. And yeah, you can do that if you really want to, but you better be sure that you can actually draw back into it quite quickly, because the library is probably the most dangerous place for your commander to be, because if an opponent makes you shuffle your library with something like a Chaos Warp, and yeah, that's played a ton, hey, your commander might just be gone forever. So yes, that is nice if you can utilize it in a good way, but other than that, I wouldn't focus on that. I'd be focusing on that, Mono White Spellslinger. Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely fun, in my opinion. Again, the ability to instant speed, potentially is probably what we're going to be doing, pump your army out of absolutely nowhere and scry a ton. Again, going wide with this commander, utilizing tokens, being able to swing out and say, good luck trying to figure out how to block me, because I've got a lot of mana open, and I'm going to be casting spell after spell after spell to pump my army and take you out, while also getting a good amount of card selection. So first up, not an instant, but a card I just want to bring up because I think it's hilarious, Homestead Courage, a card that doesn't really see a lot of play at all because it's kind of bad, but it's actually very good with this commander. Sorcery for a single white mana, put a counter on target creature control against vigilance on end of turn, flashback for 1. So yeah, getting some counters on creatures, that's nice. Giving a creature vigilance, that's nice too. The important thing is though, this is a way to cast a spell twice for just 2 mana. Again, 2 mana in total, 2 triggers off your commander, +2/+0 for all your creatures scry 2. Yeah, that's well worth it for 2 mana on top of what this already does. So again, repeatable effects like this, cards that you can cast twice are great, especially ones that can cast themselves twice. Nomad's Assembly, a great card, sorcery for 6 mana in total. Put a 1/1 core soldier creature token on the battlefield for each creature you control, and rebound. And again, rebound means, hey, when you cast it, exile it on the beginning of your next upkeep, you get to cast this card again for free from exile. So basically, hey, double up your army and then double them up again and again for free. So this is going to get 2 triggers in total off of your commander. So again, keep in mind, flashback, jumpstart, rebound, ways to cast a single spell twice can be huge with this commander. And speaking of casting twice, let's cast a lot more than twice. Even a card like Reaping the Rewards can be an incredible card for a commander like this. Instant for a single white mana, buyback, sacrifice a land. Now, that is a steep cost. Buyback basically means, hey, you sacrifice a land, just costs the spell, it comes back to your hand. Awesome. Sacrificing lands, not a really good thing most of the time, but again, with this commander, this can be a great finisher. I also think I forgot to mention, this also gains you 2 life. Did I mention that? That's cool. That's nice. Sure, but really matters is that this is a 1 mana spell that you can recast again and again and again. An incredible end of game finisher for you that you're swinging out, and you know that if I can recast this just 4 times, my army's going to be big enough to take my opponents out. Sure, that is well worth sacrificing your lands, or even recasting it 10 times, losing all your lands. Whatever it is, just do it to get the victory. So yeah, a commander that again takes its color in a different direction. Mono white Spellslinger, not really a thing, but now it definitely is with this. So go wide, make a bunch of tokens, cast a ton of spells, pump them, hit your opponents for a ton with Gandalf White Rider. Again, I really like this design. So again, Gandalf, congratulations on your 8th place finish. But now we're going to move on to 7th place with Aragorn, the Uniter, a 5/5 human noble for red, green, white, blue. Whenever you cast a white spell, you get a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever you cast a blue spell, scry 2. Whenever you cast a red spell, Aragorn deals 3 damage to target opponent. Whenever you cast a green spell, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. So Aragorn is a massive multicolor benefit commander. Every single time you cast a spell that I should say isn't colorless, isn't an artifact, is going to give you a ton of value. And the more and more colors you get out of that spell, the more and more value you're going to be getting. My goodness, if you cast another 4-color spell, you're going to get a 1/1, a scry 2, 3 damage to opponent's face, that's a lightning bolt, and +4/+4 to a creature, a ton of value. So yeah, having a ton of multiple color spells in your deck is going to be a very good thing, and you get so much value out of all of that on top of what this spell already does. I mean, moving on, let's talk about like Naya Charm. A great card, and obviously you could just go like a all charms deck essentially with this kind of a commander. It could be pretty powerful. Choose 1, deals 3 damage to target creature, return target card from a graveyard to its owner's hand, tap all creature target player controls. This can help you out in a lot of different ways depending on the situation that you're in. And again, keep in mind, this is red, white, and green. This is 3 different colors for a 3 mana spell. On top of that, again, so you're going to be getting a 1/1 human soldier. You are going to lightning bolt someone's face, and you give 1 creature +4/+4 until end of turn. So yeah, there can definitely be some combat trick shenanigans going on as well. This kind of a commander. Next up, Ginny Faye, Jetmir II. Again, a 3 mana card. 3 mana and 3 colors. So you get red, you get green, you get white. Again, the exact same benefits I just mentioned on Naya Charm, you get with this. But this one takes it to a different level because it says if you create 1 or more tokens, instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste, or that many 3/1 green dog creature tokens with vigilance. So now, instead of getting a 1/1 human soldier, guess what? You get something much better. You get something much heavier hitting. You can swing right away with cats. You can get some bigger dogs that can stay back on defense as well. Yeah, this can be quite potent with this kind of a commander, give you a lot of value throughout the game. Speaking of value, hey, there are also going to be, monocolored cards that you might consider for this commander as well. So with Eligeth, you're only going to be scrying 2, because again, it's a blue card, nothing else. But if you would scry a number of cards, draw that many cards instead. The amount of value some of this can give you throughout the game is absurd. Just, any blue spell essentially now has draw 2 on top of it. Just stapled onto it, draw 2. Basically divination for every single one of your blue spells. Absolutely crazy. So overall, yeah, a very cool design, multicolor, just benefits, value, deck, absolutely crazy. Some really cool things that you can do this one. So yeah, congratulations on your 7th place finish. But now let's move on to 6th place with Tom Bombadil, a 4/4 God Bard that costs Wooburg, 1 of each color. As long as there are 4 more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. So this can be very hard to deal with, and it's not going to be hard for you to get 4 lore counters out there. Whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards to the top of your library to a saga card, with that card on the battlefield, in the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. Basically, hey, let's replenish your sagas for free. Now, only once each turn, but again, there are definitely ways to instant speed, get, lore counters on your sagas, on your opponent's turns as well. So with 1 trip around the table, if you've got 4 sagas in play, and you can have them get their last ability, resolving on every single player's turn, that is going to be 4 free sagas you get off the top of your library into play. And as a 5-color commander that is really hard to deal with, Saga Tribal is going to definitely be a thing with this one. And I love when we get a brand new commander that says, hey, this kind of deck that you've been waiting for forever is now very, very, very possible with this kind of an awesome commander. So first up, yeah, you've got access to a lot of great sagas. Over the years, we've been getting more and more sagas, I think since Dominaria, that have been really impactful in a lot of different ways, and even a lot of different formats. But yeah, with Commander, now you've got access to all of them under this commander. The Eldest Reborn's a great one. When it ETBs, you're going to get that first lore counter. Each one sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. So this can be absolutely massive. Again, Tom Bombadil potentially is getting you this for free off the top of your library into play, taking out opponent's creatures or planeswalkers. The second one, each opponent discards a card. The third one, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard on the battlefield under your control. And again, when you get that last one, if it's the first time that it happens, hey, Tom Bombadil is going to be like, yeah, let's get you another one for free to replace that. Moving on, Proliferate, of course, can be great for a commander like this. Thrumming Bird deals counter to a player. Proliferate. On top of repeatable effects like this one, and this one's going to happen a lot throughout the game because of that evasion with flying, you are going to be able to utilize instant speed ones as well. Again, like I mentioned, shenanigans may occur on your opponent's turns when you're getting more lore counters on your sagas. Of course, you get their saga effect on that lore counter, but you also, again, once you get to that last one on each, you can replace them for free essentially with your awesome commander. Next up, there are other ways to interact with lore counters as well in sagas. Setsuki's a great one. Tap on a lore counter in each saga you control, activate as a sorcery. This is a repeatable effect that you can really use and abuse if you've got untap effects in this kind of a deck. On top of that, when it dies, choose 1. Return target saga or enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand. Return target saga card from your graveyard to your hand. There are other ways to use and abuse sagas as well. You can blink them. You can utilize something like this to bring one back to your hand. There's a lot of different effects that you can utilize for sagas. With this commander, even just shuffling your graveyard into your library can be a great thing to replenish these sagas in your library so you can hit them again thanks to your commander. So yeah, overall, very excited about Tom Bombadil. I love, again, when they're able to say, you know what, this kind of strategy, this kind of effect, this kind of, mechanic that players have really wanting to work around, let's get them a commander that does it in a perfect way. Tom Bombadil does this in a great way. Again, 5 colors give you access to all the sagas that you could want. A great commander that can protect itself quite easily in a really cool effect. Tom Bombadil, congratulations again on your 6th place finish. But now let's move on to number 5 with Lotho Corrupt Sheriff, a 2/1 halfling rogue for white-black that says, whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, you lose 1 life and create a treasure token. This is the kind of commander that gives a give and take to you. I absolutely like that kind of design where it's like, hey, you know what? You get a benefit. There's a punishing effect to it. But it's not just based on you. It's based on your opponents. So, hey, whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, yes, that counts you. Also counts your opponents. You get a treasure, but also you lose a life. So this can kind of just be a very interesting, your opponents can decide what your life total can be at a certain point. If you're quite low and your opponent's like, oh, they're at 4 life. Hey, everyone, let's just start casting a ton of spells to try to drain them out and take them out. Now, that being said, there's a lot of exciting things that you can do when you're at low life too. And this commander can give you an absurd amount of resources throughout the game, again, with those treasure tokens. So, yeah, a low-to-ground commander that gives an interesting twist on the game. I absolutely love that. So, first up, Helm of Awakening. a card that is really good in Artifact Storm decks, but also good in a deck like this. Artifact for just 2 mana, spells cost 1 less to cast. Now, keep in mind, of course, this impacts your opponents as well, and that's what we are counting on, because if we can cost reduce spells for everyone, including our opponents, players are going to be more willing and more able to cast more spells. And the more spells that are cast, the more treasures that we get, and the more life that we lose, which, again, might be a bad thing in some circumstances, but we can actually turn that into a positive in others. And speaking of life loss, Marionette Master is going to have something to say about that. A 1/3, but it's basically going to have 4 power, because we're going to fabricate 3 and get 3 counters on it. Whenever an artifact you control is from the graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. And of course, keep in mind that even artifact tokens, yes, artifact tokens like treasures, hit the graveyard as well, technically. So, with all those treasures we're going to be making, tap, sacrifice them, hit the graveyard, get some mana, and also drain your opponents quite quickly with something like this. And of course, there's other draining effects as well that we can utilize. But yeah, Marionette Master can be so impactful. Again, basically, sacrifice 10 treasures, probably take an opponent out. Speaking of taking players out, though, like I mentioned, you can really play with life loss. Reverse the Sands is a great card to do this. And yeah, it costs 8 mana, but again, you're definitely not going to be short on mana with a commander like this that can give you so many treasure tokens. Redistribute any number of players' life totals. Yeah, hey, although I'm taking all this pain and, you know, going down whenever I'm getting these treasures, I'm losing all this life. You know what? I'm at 5 life. You're at what, 40 over there? Oh, what are you at, 30? All right, who wants to be my friend? Who wants to be my friend? I'm definitely going to take the highest life total, and then I'm going to give that lowest life total, which is probably mine, to the opponent I like the least, or that's in the most favorable position. And then the other ones, you know, let's just make some deals to see who gets the better life total. This can turn the entire game around, and again, all that life loss that you took for all that benefit you were getting the treasures is now switched, and you get all the benefits from that. And the opponent that, well, maybe was helping you out and casting all those spells, maybe they're drained down to the bottom of the barrel now. So yeah, Lotho, Corrupt Sheriff, is a really cool design. Again, I love that kind of give and take. I love that punishing effect for you that you can actually turn into a positive as well, while also giving you a valuable resource. And again, this kind of play with your opponents, being like, hey, cast more spells. Helm of Awakening, let's all cast more spells. Awesome. Just encourage that. It can actually be a very, very fun, interesting, different kind of a commander game with a commander out like this. So again, Lotho, congratulations on your 5th place finish. Next up, let's move on to number 4 with the Balrog, Durens Bane, a 7/5 Avatar Demon for 5 black-red. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this turn. Haste can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. When the Balrog dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. There's a lot going on with this commander, but overall, hey, this is a heavy-hitting commander that can come down for just 2 mana. Again and again and again. Again, keep in mind that cost reduction can apply to commander decks. So, yeah, you can have a hasty 7/5 coming down really quickly and then coming back again really quickly. On top of that, this being a heavy hitter, it can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. That is huge, because most decks out there, unless you're playing against legendary tribal decks, don't have really all that many legends in play at once. Typically, their only legend in play might be their commander, and they're probably not willing to block with that again and again and again, because their deck probably revolves around that commander. So you can get this through on a lot of players quite easily. And with that, yeah, you can take them out quite quickly, because again, 7 power, that's a 3-shot KO. And if you've got some ways to maybe increase that power, maybe double it up, maybe triple it up, it can be a 2-shot or even a 1-shot KO. On top of that, when the Balrog is even dealt with, you get a benefit from that. Take out an artifact your creature opponent controls, maybe take out their commander so that they can't block with any of their creatures, and then you get it down again and swing again. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to really benefit from sacrificing things. Innocent Blood is a very simple one. Sorcery for a single black mana, each player sacrifices a creature. Now, you are going to build around this, so you'll have tons of creature fodder. Maybe that's repeatable token generation. Maybe that's something, reassembling skeleton that you can sacrifice again and again and again. Regardless, you are fine with sacrificing creatures. Your opponents aren't going to be that lucky, most likely, and they're not going to like sacrificing creatures. But when they do, hey, you pay a single mana to actually make everyone sacrifice 1. When everyone does, your commander's cost reduced by 4. By 4. This is like a massive dark ritual for you for this commander. Again, with this, plus your commander now just costs, what, 3 mana? So 4 mana in total for this in your commander to get it out right away. You also can really take advantage of things that can be sacrificed, like treasures. Brass Bounty is a great one Sorcery for 6 and a red. For each land you control, create treasure token. This can make you a massive amount of treasures, even if this just say creates you 7 treasures. That is a lot of cost reduction for your commander. Again, 7 cost reduction in total, and you don't even need to do that much because, again, you sacrifice a treasure, you get a mana to utilize for, something part of your commander, right? And then you can sacrifice more treasures to reduce the cost even further. So you're reducing the cost and also paying for the cost. You basically have every treasure counting for 2 in this kind of a deck. And also you can take advantage of your commander coming out again and again and again and be able to recast it for so cheap with something like Sarkhan's Unsealing Enchantment for 3 and a red. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 4, 5, or 6, it's going to deal 4 damage to any target. That's nice. What we care about is the next part. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 7 or greater, Sarkhan's Unsealing deals 4 damage to each opponent and each creature or planeswalker they control. So this is going to wipe your opponent's army again and again and again, taking out those middling and smaller creatures. And of course, if you cast your commander multiple times in the same turn, probably all their creatures, and you're going to burninate their faces. So yeah, your commander having a lot of power and being able to cast it cheaply is massive. Overall, a really cool design with the Balrog Durens Bane. Yeah, just a heavy-hitting, quick-to-get-out commander. They can really take advantage of things that you want to do. Make players sacrifice creatures. You can take advantage of that. You can have death triggers that you care about as well. Sacrifice artifacts. Sacrifice anything. And take your opponents out quite quickly with this 3-shot, maybe even a 2-shot, or even a 1-shot KO commander that is going to be really hard to block. So again, the Balrog, congratulations on your 4th place finish. Next up, let's move on to number 3 with Shelob, Child of Angoliant, an 8/8 spider demon with Death Touch and Ward 2 that costs 4 black-green. Other spiders you control have Death Touch and Ward 2. Whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food artifact with pay 2, tap, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life, and it loses all other card types. There's a lot going on with this commander, and all of it is disgustingly awesome. First up, for 6 mana, you get an 8/8 with Death Touch and Ward 2. That's already fantastic. On top of that, and yeah, let's go Spider Tribal. Let's really take advantage of that Death Touch and Ward 2 for all of our spiders. So yeah, even the tiniest little spider, which many are going to have a massive impact, being hard to deal with, and also taking out opponents' creatures left and right. And when those creatures are taken out, we're going to get a copy of them. Now, they're not going to be a creature. Sometimes that's even better, though, for creatures that have ETBs, LTBs, activated abilities, just, upkeep effects, anything, essentially. But yeah, we can also sacrifice those creatures and gain some life since they are now food. So let's talk about some ways to make a lot of spider tokens, and one of the great ones is Arrested in this web. 3/5 Reaching Spider. It says, whenever an opponent casts an instant sorcery spell, you get a 1/2 green spider creature token with Reach. Again, having Reach, that's massive with Death Touch because your opponents, even if they have some evasive creatures that have flying, you can still block them, you can still take them out. And again, that Death Touch is going to come in massive to take their creatures out and get copies of them. Ouch. So every single time they cast an instant sorcery spell, they create a really deadly force. And they're going to be creating a lot of those for you throughout the game. Next up, Roar of Challenge. Let's really take advantage of our commander's power. Let's take advantage of our commander's Death Touch. Let's take advantage of our commander's Trigger. All creatures able to block target creature do so. Ferocious. This creature also is going to gain Indestructible because, well, our commander has power 4 or greater. So our commander is luring our opponent's creatures to block it. Again, Indestructible Death Touch. Basically, this is a one-sided board wipe against one opponent. They have to block. They're probably not going to have more than 8 creatures. So your commander is going to say, you know what? All of you, block me. I'm indestructible. I'll take all of you out because I want to assign 1 point of combat damage to each one of you. Take them all out. Get token copies of them. Gross. And yeah, a lot of other lore effects can be great with this commander as well. Also keep in mind, ways to take advantage of food like I Am Master Chef. This one can actually make you even more food, which is nice. At the beginning of your step, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under control this turn. But more importantly, pay 1, sacrifice a food. Target creature gains indestructible on a turn. Tap it. This can tap down a creature so you can get through with your commander or other creatures if you want to. Again, your commander is a 3-shot KO with some pump effects, maybe even a 2 or 1. But yeah, also a great way to protect your key pieces, including your commander. Overall, yeah, this is a very deadly, very exciting commander. Spider Tribal is definitely coming in a massive way with this one. Not that there aren't other Spider Tribal commanders out there, but this one definitely takes the cake in my opinion. So yeah, congratulations Shelob, Child of Angoliant. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish. But now let's move on to second place with Shadowfax, Lord of Horses. And this one is in second place for a couple of reasons. A 4/4 horse that costs 3 red and a white. Horses you control have haste. And perhaps the best part about this card is that reminder text. They can attack and tap as soon as they come under your control. And with that reminder text, again, remember that that is basically a reference to the quote, Shadowfax, show us the meaning of haste, because it is showing us literally the meaning of haste. Hilarious, amazing, flavorful, love it. On top of that, though, a great attack trigger. Whenever it attacks, you may put a creature card with lesser power from your hand on the battlefield tapped and attacking. Again, you can get Shadowfax out, you can swing right away, you can cheat something into play. This is going to be cheating into play 3 power or less creatures. That being said, of course, you can increase Shadowfax's power as well, though there are plenty of great low-to-the-ground creatures that you can cheat in that maybe have low power, but might have maybe a high CMC, so you can get a lot of value out of this. For example, Baldin Sentry Herdmaster, a 0/7. So again, yeah, definitely underneath that 4 power. Human Warrior for 6 mana in total. As long as it's your turn, each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So this can hit for a lot. On top of that, whenever it attacks up to 100 target creatures, each gets +0, +X until turn, for X number of cards in your hand. Now, you won't get that attack trigger on that first one because you're cheating into play. But after that, yeah, you can have your army hit really, really hard based on your hand size. And of course, this is just one example of creatures that have low power, but have a lot of potential, like, Evangel of Heliod. 1/3, Human Cleric, ETBs, create a number of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens equal to your devotion to white, and that can be quite a bit. Again, just with this in your commander, that is 3, but of course that can be quite a bit more throughout the game, getting more and more and more creatures into play. This ETB and others you can really, really take advantage of with your commander's trigger and just cheating it into play. And of course, again, like I mentioned, plenty of ways to pump your commander. Black Blade Forge is a great one. +1/+1 for each land you control. Your commander is going to be able to hit for a ton. Protected in combat as well with that extra toughness too. And on top of that, of course, hey, cheat in basically whatever you want out of your hand. So have fun with that. Overall, yeah, Shadowfax Lord of Horses, a great design. A hilarious reference in there as well. Also, you can go Horse Tribal if you really want. That could be a fun thing too. But overall, being able to do a power-thinking tribal where you're like, hey, I've got 3 or less, or I've got some more than 3, but I also have some pump effects as well. There's a lot of cool directions you can take this awesome commander. So again, Shadowfax, Lord of Horses, congratulations on your second place finish. But now it's the moment that you've been waiting for all episode, and coming in at first place in the Golden Pig of a Lord of the Rings set is King of the Oathbreakers, a 3/3 Spirit Noble with flying that costs 2 white/black. When it or another spirit you control becomes a target of a spell, it phases out, which means you treat it and anything attached to it as though they didn't exist until your next turn. Whenever it or another spirit you control phases in, you get a tapped 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. This is a really, really cool and flavorful design. This takes phasing, which is a very old and hardly used mechanic, and turns it into something super cool. This really takes it and says, hey, you know what? It's going to be quite difficult to deal with any of my spirits, including my commander. And when you try to, they're going to go away, and they're going to come back. I guess I should say with target removal. Wraths can still affect you, but of course you've got plenty of ways to protect this and your entire army with some great spells that can say, you know what, let's just phase all my team out. When they come back, they're going to be bringing back a lot of friends. And of course, there's other ways to make spirits. There's other great spirits you can take advantage of as well. Overall, a really cool design. And I think the coolest thing is that this allows you to utilize terrible cards, absolutely terrible cards that are awful in any other deck, any other scenario, but they're amazing with this one. So first up, Scapegoat. Pretty awful in general. Doesn't see a lot of play at all. An instant for a single white mana, sacrifice a creature, return any other target creature you control to its owner's hand. Basically, hey, a 1 mana, you lose 1, okay? All right, let's just lose 1 of our spirit tokens. Not a big deal at all. Target your entire army, including your commander. Have them all phase out. They all leave. So say 1 mana, save your team spell, and also a 1 mana, basically double up your entire army. Again, you lose 1, but you double up basically everything else. So if you had 10 creatures in play, sacrifice 1, you're down to 9. You're going to phase them all out. You're going to save them from a board wipe or whatnot. They're going to come back, and you're going to get 9 more creatures. So again, basically double up your army. One that is doubling up your army, and again, I typically don't bring up non-budget cards, Heaven's Gate. This one's starting to creep up more and more and more because it's just very good with this kind of a commander. This one's a single white mana to basically change all your creatures into white creatures, which they already probably are anyways, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that this can target any number of creatures. So for 1 mana instant speed, target your entire army, phase them out, double up your army's size. Yeah, really janky and terrible cards like this one can be great with a commander like this. Next up, Invasion of Tolvana. Enters the battlefield, return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That can be massive, that can be huge, a great reanimation effect for basically anything. And then it flips over, and hey, the Broken Sky. Creature tokens you control get +1/+0 and have lifelink. That is huge. Again, you're going to have a ton of creature tokens. Now they all hit harder, and they also have a lot of life to give you. And of course, there's other great anthems to utilize as well with this. But on top of that, at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. Yes, those are spirits, which of course matters because, well, now if you phase them out, they're going to bring back even more friends with them too. And speaking of more spirits, the least reverent medium, not a spirit itself, but has a massive impact on the game. Beginning of each end step, you get X 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, where X the number of tokens you created this turn. Each end step. So whenever you're phasing your creatures in, which is going to be on, your upkeep, you are going to be making a ton at your end step. And of course, you double up any number of tokens that you're going to be making elsewhere too. And of course, they're all spirits. This can help you make your army even bigger. Yeah, overall, again, a lot of things to love about this commander. It's flavorful. It's utilizing a hardly used mechanic, a hardly used keyword, in a really cool way. Again, you can utilize a lot of terrible, awful cards like Scapegoat, Heaven's Gate, cards that see no play anywhere, and they're massively impactful with this kind of commander. I absolutely love it. So again, King of the Oathbreakers, congratulations on your first place finish. And with that, this episode is coming to a close, so let me know what your thoughts are on in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.